Hello, everybody. This is Keith with Beardley Bourbon and Spirits, and welcome to the very first edition of Spirited Conversations that hopefully will be the first in a long line of podcasts that we do here with the Beardley Bourbon brand. Tonight, I am joined by Mr. Kevin Edwards. Kevin, you are a movie guru. You've been into all kinds of things, Always Late TV, Local Ambition, Bonnie Conway PI, Schmetterling. You have another movie coming out, and you're going to sip a little whiskey here with me today, right?
Yes, I will do that.
All right, and maybe you're not like always sipping the whiskey, right? So I'm being a little bit of a bad influence on you right here?
Just a little bit.
All right. Well, hey, remember this. I always tell my friends, you're the first one that's going to drink with me on camera, but I always tell my friends, it's my bourbon, but it's your reputation, buddy. So
I appreciate the warning.
that's how we go. I'm going to, before we decide what we're going to drink here, before we dig into it, I just ran down quickly who Kevin Edwards is, but if you're going to intro yourself, and keep in mind here, hopefully we're going to have people outside of St. Louis that are going to listen to this and enjoy it. So who is Kevin Edwards?
Wow. What a question. You know who you are, but you really don't ever take a step back and take inventory of who you are to explain yourself to many people. Even somebody, in my position, I'm a filmmaker and I'm the festival director of the Always Late TV Movie Awards Film Festival. I'm still not always going around to people and being like, oh, hey, I'm Kevin Edwards, yada, 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 yada. Here's my card. I'm still very much an introverted person, although a lot of my interests require me to be extroverted sometimes.
Yes.
But I've got a social battery. So if I'm like around a lot of people and I'm talking, I'll get tired.
Right. Just down to the bottom. Yeah.
Yep. And then after that, I'm quiet, and then I want to go home.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's also not the easiest thing society tells us that we're not supposed to brag about what we've done. So it's not the easiest thing to puff out your chest and go out there and say, I'm Kevin Edwards. Look at all the things I've done. So but the question that I want to ask coming off of that is, if you're introverted, do you think that maybe you've used kind of the filmmaking to throw a little bit of that part of yourself out there that you wouldn't otherwise throw out there?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that, I have thrown myself out there and, let people know who I am and what I'm thinking. Even though outside of filmmaking and the film festival, I probably wouldn't be doing that. No, in the sense that I'm still pretty guarded, right? I still have a private life. Mm-hmm. I'm not an open book. I'm not someone who, this is great when you're on a podcast, right? Saying there's a lot of stuff, that I keep personal, and that's not entertaining. But
well, we do have the whiskey. I mean,
that'll bring it out.
That's going to help a little. Yes.
That'll bring it out. Yeah. But so no, I'm an introverted, private person. I've got my small circle of friends, who really know me and know what's going on in my life. And, I like to keep it that way. Mm-hmm. So when I am in public and, I have to talk to people, I don't overshare. Because I'm sure you've met people, I've met people, and they overshare, and it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, we probably both know the same people. We've probably been in the same rooms with the people that tend to overshare from time to time.
I mean, I love them, right? But they're braver than I am. I don't know if I could,
You know what I say about people who overshare? Mm-hmm. Shut up. That's what counseling's for. No, I'm just kidding. To all my oversharing friends out there, I love you, but try some counseling. No,
So I guess to better answer the question, I'm somebody, I grew up in Southern Illinois, Jerseyville.
Okay.
And, born and raised. And when you come from a small town like that, your family and the people that live there have this expectation of who you're going to be.
Of course. Yeah, I understand that.
So they tell you, well, you're going to have 2.5 kids, you're going to get married, She's going to stay at home. You are going to work in Olin Brass making bullets
Yep.
until you die.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
That's your lot in life. And you just have to like it. I always pictured more for myself. And when I was a kid, you know, we'd all play with our friends and use our imaginations and stuff like that. But we'd go to the movies, and my friends wanted to be Tom Cruise and Bruce Willis and, you know, Nicolas Cage, all those people.
Of course.
I wanted to be Steven Spielberg. I wanted to be James Cameron.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make the movies and tell the stories. So, you know, my imagination had always been hyperactive, still is,
Right.
because I can't shut it off.
Yeah.
So I'm in this small Southern Illinois town, and I have all of these, you know.
I have to stop you.
Yeah.
You do understand that you can get away with calling Jerseyville Southern Illinois until you're talking to someone who lives in Southern Illinois, right?
I mean, geographically, it's.
I'm going to argue you're lower mid-state. I'm Southern Illinois. I'm Carbondale.
Okay. We'll just edit that part out. And we're going to
No,
say.
we're keeping it.
We're going to say, growing up in a middle.
Let's just say rural Illinois.
Rural. Okay. Rural.
Yeah.
It's not really rural. It's got a population of like 8,000.
Oh, shit. That's like 2 more thousand. That's 30% more than where I live right now.
So it's like big enough, but we still have to wait for farm equipment to drive on the
So
road.
is that the delineation? If you have to wait for farm equipment, then you're like the southern half of the state?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We can go with that.
Yeah.
All right.
But so, you know, I have all these, you know, dreams and ambitions and everything. And I didn't want to, you know, no offense to anybody who stays in the town they grew up in, right? Live your life the way that you want to live it. But for me, I wasn't going to be happy with that. So I lived in that area even in my 20s, and I regret that. So when I hit 30, though, I moved to St. Louis, and it exposed me to a whole bunch of different kinds of people, which was awesome.
Right.
And I got to be around like-minded people who were making movies and stuff like that. That's really what I wanted to do. So I guess I'm somebody who fought conformity and staying inside the mold, kicking and screaming. And I guess I still do.
Yeah, but that's cool. I mean, it's admirable. I get it. I can relate to it. We're kind of the same in many ways. But before we transition more into the stories, you know what I do when I'm filled with regret? I grab a bottle of whiskey and I drink. So let me tell you a little bit about what we have here.
Sure.
You being kind of a new whiskey drinker, I
Yes.
took some pity on you. So
Thanks.
there's nothing like super high proof on the table.
Yep.
At least in my opinion. So here's some Woodford Reserve. This is a single barrel select by a local liquor store. I'll say your name once you're sponsoring us, but it comes in at 110 proof. I'm going to go here because this is my first chance to drink some Woodford Reserve at 110 proof. Here's some Old Fitzgerald 7-year bottle and bond, 100 proof wheated whiskey. The red line is a very interesting selection. It happens to be the highest proof of whiskey that we have on the table today, but it is finished in honey casks. So you get this nice bourbon whiskey flavor that comes through on the front, and then on the finish, you get like this really sweet honey note. Very interesting combination. And then you have an 80 proof Penelope Peach Old Fashioned that is ready to pour. So that's the lowest hitter on the table. And me being a certified whiskey steward, there's 2 things that I will never do to anybody about whiskey. Okay, actually 3. I'll never peer pressure you into drinking whiskey. Okay, I'll never tell you you're drinking it wrong, and I'll never make fun of what you choose. So I will share with you that I'm going to choose this Woodford Reserve and pour it up because I've never had a Woodford at that high a proof that's not the batch or the cask strength limited edition. So that's where I'm going to go. You can select your bottle if you wish.
I'm going to go there too.
You're going to go? You're going to do the win in Rome situation?
Yeah, win in Rome.
All right. This is a brand new fresh pop. Let's see if we can get this on the mic. Yeah, I think that was pretty good, actually. Nailed it. Do you know why whiskey drinkers like to hear a pop?
Why?
So it's it just signifies.
I gotcha.
So the pop. I mean, if you watch any of my short form material, you'll hear me say we don't taste the pop, but we like to hear it.
Yep.
The reason we like to hear the pop is because when you open a bottle of whiskey, like one of the enemies of whiskey is air, right? So it starts to oxidize the whiskey. So when we crack open a fresh bottle and we hear that nice, good pop, we know that it hasn't been tainted by air. We know that it's going to bring the same flavors that come right when that whiskey went into the bottle. So we don't taste the pop, but we like to have it.
The more you know.
The more you know. That's what I'm here for. Education, entertainment, and imbibing.
I'm learning.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you might learn that you poured yourself pretty heavy there. I, sir, love your ambition.
I'm full of it.
For someone who is not a big whiskey drinker, you gave yourself a solid pour. So cheers to you.
I'm going to pour the rest in the plant.
That's okay. It's a rubber plant. It'll probably hold up to it.
And
the local ambition. That was the genesis of everything. And it happened, as you said, just kind of by accident, right? Like, boom, here we go.
yeah, it all just happened by chance. Filmmaking had always been something that I'd wanted to do. But prior to 2012, I was in the professional wrestling business.
Whoa, wait. I've known you for a while.
Uh-huh.
Professional wrestling.
Yes.
To what capacity?
So independent wrestling. I was a manager. I was a producer and a writer.
Okay.
So it was my job to basically help talent that was, new and not sure about themselves, or veteran talent who just, like, they look the part, they can wrestle, but
Right.
they can't talk people into the building. Okay?
Okay, yeah. So you worked on their bullshit quotient.
Yeah. So I got to talk about this person like they are the greatest wrestler that you've ever seen in your whole life.
Right.
Okay. But behind the scenes, I was also helping put matches together, because it's not always, it would be great if this guy wrestled that guy. Well, you don't know if that's going to work out in front of a crowd,
Right.
or on camera. So you got to, because everybody's got their strengths and their weaknesses, So you have to put a match together in such a way where both people end up being able to perform what you need them to do. That's not always both guys look great at the end, okay?
Right.
Because sometimes the goal is, all right, wrestler A, that's our star. He needs to get over, okay? And we can't have stars if everyone's having 50-50 competitive matches with each other.
Sure.
Sometimes you're going to have to get your ass kicked in a couple minutes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes you got to go down hard.
Right. Hulk Hogan
Or
wouldn't have been
fall hard, however you want to say that.
Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Steve Austin, John Cena. None of those guys would have been where they're at if they were having, 50-50 competitive matches with lower guys on the card. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't have made any sense. Mm-hmm. So you have to take that into consideration when you're putting the matches together. Who is this person? Are they a top star in the company? Well, if so, they need to get a whole lot more offense in, and they don't need to be on defense a whole lot. So that part of it was fun for me too. And then also helping come up with people's promos that they would say on camera, and then helping them, evolve their characters and stuff.
Right.
I enjoyed that. But the wrestling business didn't enjoy me, because professional wrestling started in the carnivals, but there's still carnies. Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we would have a good house, and there was a line, usually near the exit. Okay. And the promoter would have envelopes. You get your envelope, walk out the door. Envelope, walk out the door. Well, I got my envelope after I did a show in Chicago in the Congress Theater, and it was 3,500 people, and I got a envelope with $20 in it. Yeah.
please tell me that was the last time you got an envelope.
Yeah, I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
You know, because it's one thing like if you don't have the money, because I've done those shows where if the promoter doesn't have money, I'll do the show for free. Okay, but there's a big difference between doing something for free because you're passionate about it and someone handing you $20.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. You would have rather done that for free.
Or I would have rather done it for free.
Yeah, for sure.
But because I know that there was 3,500 people in that building, okay, and you made a ton off the gate and you're going to hand me $20. So a lot of that just permeates through the independent wrestling scene.
Right.
You'll even see it. You'll even hear stories about it happening in, WWE.
Right.
Here and there. But for the most part, they've cleaned up their act and they're a more professional place. They're the standard for a reason. But a lot of the independent companies are run by marks,
Right.
who, it was always their dream to get into the wrestling business and meet guys and girls who used to work for
Right.
WWE but got released. And they always wanted to play booker, matchmaker,
Gotcha.
They had played all the games on their computers or on their consoles, and now they get to do it in real life.
They wanted to live their personal fantasy
Sure.
by arranging whatever they could get their hands on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about other forms of entertainment or sports. Maybe it's exclusive to wrestling that these types of people exist, but they get into the wrestling business for the wrong reasons. They're fans more than they want to be, professional business people.
Right.
And do things the right way. So after that, I wanted to get out.
So how did you take that, for lack of a better word, just that shit sandwich of $20 in an envelope, right?
Yep.
And you're like, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to be a film producer. I'm going to do local ambition. How did you go from that to where's the A to B transition there?
Okay, so that happened in 2012.
Okay.
Because I was doing a podcast with an old friend, and I just was falling out of love with it. I was driving from Grafton to Grand in St. Louis twice a week, and I wasn't feeling it anymore. I didn't like the content of the show, and I didn't feel like my input was being respected. And on a specific day, this had happened in November 2012. I remember this. I was driving through a snowstorm to my buddy's apartment on Grand. He didn't have to do anything but wake up and put clothes on, okay? But I had been battling that snowstorm all morning trying to get there. I get there. He's not even ready, okay? So I got to wait on him. I'm getting aggravated. So we do the podcast, and at the end of it, he goes, "Oh, I forgot to record it." Yeah.
So how did you not go wrestling on him? Because right there, I would have pile drive that guy. Like the guy over here off camera that's laughing right now would pile drive that guy too if he said I forgot to hit record.
So I left, okay, and I'm in my car getting ready to go back home, and I have this moment where I just said, "Screw it, I'm gonna become a filmmaker." This had been a dream that I had put on hold to do wrestling. And don't get me wrong, I love wrestling, okay? And it was something I was really passionate about as a kid too. I still love it.
Right.
But I really wanted to be a filmmaker. And I had put it on hold long enough, and that was sort of the catalyst. That was the kick in the ass that I needed. And I said, okay, well, screw it. I'm going to become a filmmaker. And the guy I was doing the podcast with had tried to talk me back into, doing it with him.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I said, no, I don't really want to do that anymore. What I want to do is I want to, be a filmmaker. And he goes, well, I want to have a contest. for, to drum up publicity for this podcast, okay? Since you're not doing it anymore, it'd be great, if you helped out with that. I said, well, what do you got in mind? So his idea for a contest to drum up publicity for his podcast was, it was a bit too Girls Gone Wild for my taste.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I suggested, well, why don't we just make it a reality show? Okay. Because I knew that if I was going to do anything in film, I wanted to do it the right way.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you didn't want to hit that easy button of the gratuitous kind of thing and be a flash in the pan and sell a bunch of stuff, but have no substance to it. Right.
Well, what I also understood was, and I still do, is that you're wasting women's potential if they're just being noticed for their looks.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And Hollywood had done, a disservice to a lot of actresses over, decades and decades, because they were relegated to playing secretary, girlfriend, wife, mistress of, or old lady. Okay. And so the roles just didn't have any depth to them. Okay. Outside of like some pocket cases here and there.
Sure.
Okay. But like they can do everything a guy can do. Why not use them to their full potential? So that was my mindset. Like, why would we just be doing this, silly contest? Why not have there be more to it? Why not have them model, but why not have there be some sort of story to it, some drama?
Sure.
And we shot the first season of Local Ambition, and my buddy at the time quit after the first week. Okay, because he wanted to use Local Ambition as a way to meet women. Okay,
the exact. Like, if you could write a book about what not to do to be successful, okay. So he was obviously misguided.
Very. And, there's just a lot of like photographers and filmmakers, who are guys, they get into the business for the wrong reasons. And I'm not trying to, sit here and be preachy.
No.
Okay. But it happens. And it's not fair to any of the talent that you have, because they're always going to think, well, is the spot that I have contingent on whether this guy likes me or not?
Yeah, and I can not to interrupt your story, but just to interject, because you, as you know, I've been a photographer before. I've been a podcast host and done these things, like the Beardly Bourbon and all that stuff. The reason that models would come back to me and work with me with regularity, do you know what they would say without fail?
What?
You're not a creep.
Yeah. And it's easy not to be.
Dude, just be a human. That's all. Just a respectful human, and don't be a creep. So, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. Yeah, it's easy not to be a creep. But, and I'm not going to trash the guy anymore, but that's what he wanted out of Local Ambition. And, I didn't want to use that as a platform to meet women. Right. Okay. I wanted to make something cool, but I had no idea what I was doing. I was shooting it on a DSLR camera. Okay. I was the cinematographer. I didn't even have a microphone. So all of the audio that you heard was camera audio.
Right.
And anybody that shoots anything cringed when I said that, because you always need a microphone.
Yeah.
Okay. You need
at least a hot shoe mic, right?
Yeah. So, first couple seasons, we didn't have one. And it was amazing that I even did another season of Local Ambition, because I failed so hard the first time, but just something about it just felt right, and something clicked in me. So every year I would do Local Ambition, and I had a list of all the ways that I screwed up the year before. Okay. I could have had, a better microphone. I could have shot more B-roll. I could have learned how to color grade better. So you're writing all these things down.
And to be clear, you didn't not just stop once. Like you did several seasons of
10.
10. You did this for a decade
Yeah.
off of something that started with a DSLR camera and
Yeah.
no microphone.
Yeah.
But was that because you didn't want to let the cast down, or did you just feel like you had something there that you wanted to keep pushing?
I felt like we had something because I really liked the concept. I still do, right? A modeling competition reality show, not like America's Next Top Model, a show where there's, kidnappings and attempted murders and aliens and ghosts and all of this silly
And models.
right? And all of this silly soap opera stuff. But getting to have a almost an entirely fresh cast every year of new people, and you get to learn about them, and you get to figure out, just like I was in wrestling, figuring out what their strengths and weaknesses are and how you are going to put them in front of the camera. If someone's not a strong talker, well, then you need to put them in a scene with somebody who is.
Right.
Okay? Not to say that person who, that woman who couldn't, do very well in her interviews was not useful. Absolutely. But, maybe you're better at not having a lot of dialogue.
Sure.
Maybe you're better at nonverbal acting.
Sure,
Maybe you can
yeah.
tell the story with your face instead of your words. Okay.
Right.
So you learn all these things about these women every year, and that became a challenge. Like every year was this whole new, puzzle that you'd get to put together, and that was fun. But I love the concept of the show, and the girls loved it too. But Local Ambition wasn't getting to the point where I was truly satisfied with it. So, I had to let that go.
Right.
And, I let that go in 2021.
So let's talk about that transition, at the end of the Local Ambition. And I think that's kind of where I started to become a little more aware of what Kevin Edwards was doing and what things were happening. You transition out of that to making short film, right?
Yep.
And that's where Schmetterling comes in.
Yep.
And award-winning Schmetterling,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you had a decade TV series. Now as a filmmaker, because that TV series is not, you're making product, but it's not being a filmmaker, right? You're kind of, it's the same, but it's not the same. But then you transition into short film. So tell me about Schmetterling and how that differed from.
Yeah. So after I decided that I wasn't going to do Local Ambition anymore, I took some of the cast members who were standouts. Okay. Ashley Pryor, Katarina Clayton, Bella Torregrossa, Mary Jane. Okay.
Fantastic people, all of them.
Yeah. Love them. They had all come from Local Ambition. So I remember talking to Ashley and Katarina, and I said, well, what if we just made movies? And they were on board, So I said, okay, well, I got this script, okay, for a film called Schmetterling. And Schmetterling is the name of the main character, okay? And Ashley Pryor played Schmetterling. John Lear, the Geico caveman, he's on Friends. He's co-hosted our award show at our film festival quite a bit. He played her father.
And he posed with a selfie for me.
Yes.
So, most importantly, I have a selfie with John Lear. So
Yes. And Katarina was in it as well, and she played Birdie, Schmetterling's friend. Well, anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. The premise of the film was that Schmetterling is a drug addict, and she is struggling with addiction. Well, she witnesses a murder outside her apartment building, and the killer sees her. So she starts running. And the film is her going from one spot to the next, hoping to find somebody who will help her. And while it sounds super simple on paper, the idea that I wanted to drive home with it is that there's a lot of distrust for addicts, because people who aren't addicts will hear somebody say something. Oh, yeah, they just want something. They're lying.
Sure.
Yeah, there's nobody after you.
Right.
Right? Well, what if there was?
Right.
And that's how the story was born. And I have a soft spot in my heart for addicts and people struggling with addiction, because we had a girl on Local Ambition, and her name was Mackenzie. And Mackenzie had struggled with these things, and Mackenzie passed away in 2018. So I wanted to have a film that humanized addicts.
Right.
Okay.
Instead of demonizing.
Right.
You wanted to show the other side of what that was. Yeah.
Exactly. Because, in a lot of television and film, drug addicts were always used as like fodder. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Cautionary tales. Don't be like them.
Right. Or even comedic relief at times.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they weren't meant to be human. And I didn't like that, so I made Schmetterling to try to, humanize addicts in some small way. Well, anyway, it was such a blast to shoot that. And after we finished it, we gave it to festivals. Festivals loved it too. We started winning awards. Ashley won Best Actress twice.
Yeah.
And it felt good. So I was finally getting something that I had wanted out of Local Ambition, but didn't get. And that's to feel like there's some sort of, not validation. I wanted to feel like I was making progress.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Not just spinning my wheels.
Right.
And I finally felt like I was hitting my stride. And that experience making short films was, to me, a lot healthier than making Local Ambition, because Local Ambition, we would have these film days, and all film days can go long. Okay.
I'm aware.
Yeah. But it's quite another thing when you have like 15 cast members that you've got to manage all day long. And they're wanting to know, well, when am we getting to my stuff?
Right.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. When we get there.
When we get there. Yeah. It's on the call sheet. This is the order of things. So it became easier for me to manage because there's a lot fewer personalities on set. Mm-hmm. And the film days weren't so strict. We could shoot a couple dates in 1 month and go shoot a couple other dates in 2 months from now.
Right.
Whatever. A short film was easier to make than an entire series. So that was just that was an incredible feeling for me. So from Schmetterling, we just kept making films and haven't stopped.
Yeah, and I think what's really cool to me is, like, so you took Ashley, right, mm-hmm. who was a 2-time Best Actress and won those awards, and you mentioned Bella, and you parlay something that was extremely serious, mm-hmm. right? And now I know even more how serious Schmetterling was because I know the underlying story that I didn't know before you walked in here. Yep. And you take it into Bonnie Conway, which reminds me of a kung fu movie. Yeah, it's like Schmetterling's over here and Bonnie Conway. It's how do you take the same people, right? Mm-hmm. Like the same people. Ashley's the lead again. Bella is the support, like direct here. Mm-hmm. But how do you go from something so kind of dark and serious and heavy to 70s kung fu with Russian accents? 80s kung fu. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I stand corrected. I've been corrected.
Well, I wanted to do something lighter because Schmetterling was a little dark. to put it mildly. So I wanted to keep making movies, but I wanted the next project to be a lot lighter.
Right.
And I love the 80s. I was born in 82. So I feel lucky to have experienced a lot of it while I was aware of my surroundings. I had a Wham shirt, and I had white jeans and a mullet when I was a kid.
Where are the photos? Where are the photos?
So the Wham shirt isn't in any photos, but the mullet is, because my mom's house is just littered with pictures of me and my brother. And I always had the mullet. And Kyle, my brother, had a bowl cut. Oh, like the Dumb and Dumber style bowl cut.
Yeah, like straight around?
Yep. Yep. So he had this blonde bowl cut, and I had this black mullet and these big, thick glasses. And I had jeans that went up to here, okay, and they were white. So it couldn't have been more 80s than that, I don't think. But I still loved that, and still do love that time period, you know, because a lot of it just, once you experience it, even if you didn't live it, if you take in the media, you know, any pictures, music, television, movies, it's tough to like let it go. It just, there's something about it, just it hits a certain part of my brain. And I wanted to make a movie set in the 80s.
Well, 80s culture is big around the world. Like
Yeah.
I travel for my real life, you know, not when I'm doing the podcast. And dude, like 80s culture is huge still to this day around the world. So
Yeah.
and it wasn't just you, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I was just listening to The Midnight, and if anybody wants a good recommendation for music, The Midnight, they make music that sounds like it came from the 80s, but it's made today. And it's all original stuff. It's no covers, whatever.
Okay.
Love The Midnight. So I was listening to that, and I was watching this clip from Magnum PI. And I was like, this is...
Now I know where Bonnie's wardrobe comes from.
Yeah.
Like literally this just has like clicked into focus for me now. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, Ashley is Magnum PI.
Yeah.
Without all the body hair and the mustache.
As far as we know.
Yeah. So
She's going to hate me for that. I'm sorry, Ashley.
So Ashley's very good at playing the sarcastic, witty anti-heroes, okay? Bella is a very bubbly personality, okay? So I thought, well, we got to have yin and yang. Right. So Bella's going to be the yang to Ashley's yin, if that makes any sense. And she's going to be her assistant, okay? And Katerina has a whole lot of range as an actor.
Yes, and as a model and as most everything she does.
Yeah. There's like nothing she can't do.
Right.
So she was the villain. She was also the villain in Schmetterling, but I wanted her to be the villain in this film. But she played a Russian. So she had the cat suit on, the eye patch, and she had to learn some Russian in order to... Yeah. I said, hey, there's no like Russian in the script. You can just do the lines in English, but with an accent. Well, she wanted to have some Russian words in there. So she taught herself how to say some of that stuff, which is awesome. She's totally committed to everything she does. And yeah. And then the film worked too. Like we took to festivals and festivals loved it. You know, we're winning awards, and, you know, Ashley, Bella, and Katerina were winning stuff.
Right.
So that felt good. And we decided to make our first feature.
Yeah, that's the big decision, right? And before we transition into that, where can folks watch Schmetterling and Bonnie Conway? Where can they find that?
Tubi.
So Tubi free TV. So that just Schmetterling, search it up, Bonnie Conway, right there.
Yep.
And we're gonna have Kevin's socials tagged here at the end of this podcast and in the comments. If you guys enjoy the movies, reach out, let us know that you've watched them, and let Kevin know that he did a good job. And my wife and I, full transparency, we watched Bonnie Conway 2 times back to back.
Oh,
like
thanks.
the first time we watched it, there was so much we missed because it was so it was like watching our childhood again. Because I'm older than you. You know,
Yeah.
it might be obvious to some, but my wife and I we're a little older than you are, so it was just we laughed. You know, we laughed so much at it. We ended up watching it back to back. But now you're transitioning into feature film.
Yeah.
Which is much different.
Yeah.
You know, and this one is a little bit, you know, special to me as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
And,
I mean, you're in it.
well, I am in it, and I have a
So-
spot in the trailer. I'm just going to say it's a great spot in the trailer.
Yeah.
Expertly filmed,
Thank
by the
you.
way.
Thank you.
But how do you make that jump? And I think, you know, yeah, the shorts are cool and it's awesome, and I'm not
Yeah.
taking anything away from the shorts, but you decided you're going to tackle a feature independent film. Some would say that's kind of crazy with no budget, right?
It's hubris. Okay.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the Schmetterling and Bonnie Conway were successful, you know, at film festivals, and I thought, well, I think obviously the next step, guys, is we got to make a feature. So I had this idea for a film, and it is called Rio Rules the World, and it's about a young woman, Rio, played by the amazing Bella Torregrossa, who is battling addiction, okay, but she gets into some trouble.
Yeah, a little more than just drugs.
Yep, a little more than that. So she gets into a lot of trouble, you know, early in the film, and she defends herself. Well, because she defended herself, something terrible happened, okay? And I'm trying not to give away too much.
Yeah, we don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, I'm not trying to give away too much.
A series of unfortunate events occur.
Yes. So she defends herself, you know, because she's attacked early in the film, and the FBI are investigating the case because the man who attacked her is this famous Hollywood celebrity. Okay, so she's a fugitive, and she's on the run, and she's trying to not only battle addiction, but she's trying to stay a free woman and not spend the rest of her life behind bars. The decision to make a feature film was, I guess, totally based on hubris on my part, because Bonnie Conway, P.I., and Schmetterling had done well at festivals. So, you know, I was talking to, you know, Ashley and Bella and Kat and Sean, and I said, well, guys, I think we got to do a feature. You know, yeah, let's do it, yeah.
Well, then you were in then. You couldn't back out then.
Right.
You had your 5 people that you work with all the time that were like, we're doing this.
Yeah,
We're going.
They were rah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got into it, and we're still filming it, and it's a great film so far. It's going to be an amazing film when it's finished.
Yeah.
But it is a whole different ball game than shorts.
Would you have, if you would have known the work, so like, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here, but you're X amount of months into this. Knowing now what you did not know then, would you have done another short, or would you have jumped both feet into this feature film the same way that you did previously?
Yeah, I think I would have still done the feature.
Excellent. That was the answer I was hoping you were going to say, because I mean, why not, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's never a great time like the best time to plant the tree is yesterday, right? So and I kind of feel like it's the same thing with anything artistic.
Right.
You can have your apprehensions, you can have your, I don't know if it's the right time, I don't know if this, I don't know. It's never going to be the right time if you don't just wake up one day and say, today's the day, we're going to do it.
Yes. And I've told people this, and some of them are even filmmakers, and they've got these ideas, and they're like, well, it's just not the right time. We need to get, X, Y, and Z, and then we're ready. Okay. Then we'll be ready to make this movie, but it never happens. To me, I say just get out there and shoot. Okay. Good, bad, or indifferent. Like, it could be a stinker of a movie, but you got to go out there and you got to make it. Okay. Because you've got to get your reps in, and you don't get better as a filmmaker or an actor or a writer or anything related to film if you don't just get out there and do it. Sure. If you're always sitting on your couch and waiting for the right time to happen, then Tom Cruise has that luxury. Okay, right. He can sit on his couch and wait for the perfect moment to come around because he's achieved that level of success, and he never has to work another day in his life. He can do any movie that he wants to do. Okay, on the independent level, it's a bit different because a lot of us are coming up, sure. And there are some veterans, okay, who really know their stuff. But for the people who are still new to the game, okay, you got to get your reps in. You got to get out there and get in front of the camera, or you've got to put a camera in your hands. You've got to get out there and make it happen. And it might suck. Okay, my first time.
I mean, it almost always does, right? The first time,
like mine. My first time being a filmmaker sucked. I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm glad I did it.
Sure.
Because if I would have waited until like I had the proper funding, okay, or I had all the best actors in the world lined up for my first directing gig in 2012, and I waited until I felt like I knew everything that I needed to know, it would have never happened.
Yeah, I read something the other day, and it really speaks to me, and I've shared this with anyone who will listen. You never, how did it go? You're never going to feel ready, because ready is a decision, not a feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it's like you're never going to wake up one day and like feel, okay, this is the day. I feel like I'm ready today. No, it's not a feeling. You've just decided to be ready to do something today.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that this film is, I'm in this film.
Yep.
And you reached out to me, and I don't want to make this about me, but there's something that I do find interesting about this. You chose me to play the darkest character by your own admission that you've ever written. And you just told me that you had a movie about addiction and murder and all kinds of things, but you chose me to play your darkest written character. I know you're not a big whiskey drinker, so what led to that decision?
Well, so I guess that's a couple things. First, I had seen a music video that you had done with a mutual friend, Di. Do not call her Diana.
Yeah, Di in Sifu, yes.
Yep. And I was just so like, I guess, moved by your presence on camera. Okay. You got the look. Okay. You're a nice guy. We're friends. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
But, visually you look like this stern, gruff guy.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's not just enough to have the look. You got to have something else. Okay. And, your performance in that music video kind of moved me. So I was like, all right, well, let's give him a shot. Let me write something that is fit for the type of acting that he's going to excel in. Okay. Because you'd already done it before, just in a different setting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's just sort of what made that decision for me, because that character was just sort of sitting there. And then Di had showed me that music video, and then I was like, oh, well, it's obviously Keith.
It was fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was
fun.
It was fun. It was fun to dig in. It was fun to play the type of person that the entire world hates.
Yeah.
Because that's not the real me.
Right, yeah.
Right. Like, I'm a father of 4. I'm a grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's not like that. That's what I love about cinema.
Yeah.
It's like there's this whole world where I can go melt into this
Yep.
and just have complete freedom and license to be the biggest asshole in the world.
Yeah.
And people are going to pat me on the back when I come out of there and say, well done.
Yeah.
Now, when I take the costume off, when I take the wardrobe off, of course I go back. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, and that melts away. But without cinema, we don't have that little place to just go play, right?
Yeah, it can be therapy.
Yeah, for sure. It for sure could be therapy. Yeah.
It can be therapy.
Yeah.
Because, we have to be ourselves every day.
And we're paid to be, most of us. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes being ourselves is very hard.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to be able to be somebody else and play make-believe in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think something that I want to share with you, and I think I shared this with you at the end of the movie awards last year after I presented. The response that we received from the crowd that was at the movie awards when we played the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, I was super proud to be part of that. I was super proud to make the trailer, have my face on that, and just be part of something that a whole room full of filmmakers and people who know what's going on, they really appreciated that. And I want to talk. Go ahead.
It felt good.
It felt better than good, dude. It felt really, really good.
Yeah.
And I want to transition into and probably wrap on the music, not the music, the movie awards and what you do. But let's stay just a moment on the Rio Rules the World. That's been ongoing for a while. We've had some things like you and I talked. We talked off camera, but. Everything now is back as it should be. Everybody's available.
Yes.
Will we see that release this 2026?
We should see it in 2026.
I like you said should. I caught that. We should see the release in 2026. But
I have learned as a filmmaker, especially making a feature, anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and you just have to keep steering the ship and get it done. So, there's always, production delays. But when you're an independent filmmaker, those production delays hit harder.
Sure. Yeah.
So we have bounced back, and we should see it in 2026.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I would like a short film to like a speedboat, right? So if you see something up here, you can kind of turn and move, and it's really easy. But a feature film, that's maybe like a freight liner or maybe even a cruise ship. It's going to turn, but it's going to turn nice and slow, and you got a whole lot more to do. So you've taken all of this, everything you've achieved. You've taken your alma mater, right?
Yep.
You've gone back to whence you've came. And now you have the Always Late TV Independent Film Awards or Movie Awards, or however you're wrapping that up. How cool is that? You're
very cool.
You're back to where you went to college. You're back home. You're showing people that you're different. You've got people coming in from around the world. Last year when I presented, we had people from Australia, people from Japan. And if I'm not mistaken, you're the only person that's doing anything like this anywhere. That's why these people are coming from Japan and Australia. No other independent film awards is quite like what you're doing. So tell us a little bit about that. How did you dream this up, and then how did you pull it off?
Thanks. Yeah. So it, like being a filmmaker, was just sort of a dream that I had in the back of my head. And after being a filmmaker for a long while, and submitting to enough festivals, I felt like the experience overall as an independent filmmaker dealing with film festivals was lacking. Okay. And there was a lot of room for improvement and ways that can be more fair to filmmakers and give them more recognition. Okay. So I was kicking around the idea of doing only an award show. That's all I wanted to do in the beginning. And then I had this idea, and Jen Klein from Lewis and Clark Community College, she's a professor. I had her as and she's much younger than me, okay? But I had her as an instructor when I went and I did college from 2010 to 2015 and got my bachelor's in criminal justice. But she was my sociology teacher. So she knew that I had this idea. And she says, well, what if you just did it at Lewis and Clark? Okay. I went and checked out the venue, Hathaway Cultural Center.
Right.
I was blown away.
Very nice venue.
Very nice venue.
Very nice.
Yeah, Lewis and Clark is beautiful. So then the ball got rolling really fast. And we started getting approval from, all these other departments, all the way up to the top from the president. And we got approved for it. Wow. Okay, so this thing is actually going to happen. And that was back in 2023. Mm-hmm. Here we are and going on 2026 in our fourth year doing this film festival. And it was born out of frustration with the film festival circuit because I had made a list of all the things that I just didn't like about the festival experience.
Right.
And the biggest thing, and if you're a filmmaker and you're watching this, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about, and that is transparency. So when you don't get picked or you're nominated but you don't win, it would be great if you understood why.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
A lot of festivals won't even watch your movie. They don't tell you they don't watch it, but if they watched it and had an opinion about it, it takes nothing to share that opinion with the filmmaker. Mm. But it's a regular thing. You pay your submission fee and you wait around. And then when the notification day comes where the festival has to tell you where you stand, you find out where you stand. Not selected, nominated, whatever. And when you don't get picked, that feels bad. And you want to improve as a filmmaker, so why aren't you getting feedback?
Sure.
That was the big thing. So we give feedback to everybody that submits. So everyone, even if they're not selected, all the way up to the people that are nominated and win, they get feedback. That way you see your scores, you understand what the judges were saying, and you can then choose to take that advice and improve or not. But either way, we put all of our cards on the table and you know where you stand.
So you took something, you took your I wish there was and created it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
I mean, speaking of hubris, I mean, that's, we're right back there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's this doesn't exist. It needs to exist.
It does.
I'm Kevin Edwards. Yeah. I'm going to create it.
Yes. Yeah. And that's how it happened.
I think it's awesome, though.
Thank you.
I think it's super awesome. So, yeah, I mean, but when we talk about, okay, so now you're going to do it. Yeah. Now you've got the spot. Mm-hmm. Now you're going to do it. Yeah. So there's like many layers to this.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, Kevin, take me through that. You had an idea. You're like, okay, this doesn't exist. I'm going to do it. And then somebody from Japan shows up. How do you make sure that they have what they need? They know where they're going. How do you handle this?
So, yeah, like Ogres and Onions, the film festival has a lot of layers, okay? And there's no manual, okay? There's no manual that I read that says, this is how you make a film festival.
Right.
So a lot of it we learned on the fly. And just like Local Ambition, every year, I'm making a list of ways that I can improve this and make it better for everybody. And we learned from 2023 and carried that into 2024 and 2024 to 2025 and into next year. Okay. So there's time between late March and the following March where I'm thinking about the festival in some way or another every day in that time. Okay. And obviously, as it gets closer to the end of the year, you work more. Okay. But there's a ton of things to do. So in your example, when we had our amazing visitors from Tokyo
Right.
Back in 2024.
Yeah. Who were winners, by the way.
Were winners,
Yeah,
yes.
That made me happy to see that.
I'm sure, were very happy about that as well, because if you're going to come all the way from Tokyo to not win.
To Lewis and Clark College. Let's like Alton, Illinois, Lewis and Clark College from Tokyo.
That's a far distance. You're right.
Yeah.
So to come all that way and come back empty-handed would have sucked.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they won 2 awards. They won Best Director of a Short and Best Short for their film Sakura. A cheap plug. The filmmaker was Ichi Takahashi. Great filmmaker. Well, anyway, so when I find out that they're coming, well, then there's things that you have to get lined up.
Sure.
Some countries have an embassy, and they need like a formal letter that we have to write up and give to them so that they can get approval to leave the country. Okay. Or to get financial assistance with the travel. Okay. So you got to do that. And then you've got, especially the people from Japan, they don't know about the Best Western.
Oh, of course not. Why would they?
So, they don't know of all the hotels around here, and it's only fair if they're going to come all the way over here that you line all the lodging up for them.
Sure.
So I find the lodging, I communicate with the hotel, I give them the hotel information, and then you have to line up their travel because they're not walking from the hotel. So they were staying at the Best Western Plus in Alton. And then the college is about 10 minutes away. Okay. So we got them a driver to take them, to and from their hotel for the whole weekend. So they didn't ever feel like they were locked in anywhere. So you got to do that. But then the big obstacle is communication.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
You mean you're not brushed up on your Mandarin?
Japanese
Mandarin?
Yes. No. I couldn't speak a lick of it. But they had a translator with them, Ayaka. And Ayaka would walk around with the tablet, okay? And the tablet would listen to what you're telling them, and then it would translate it in real time to Japanese. So that way, Ichi and Ryu could understand it. And then they would talk to Ayaka, and then Ayaka would then, in English, tell me what's going on. Okay? So all these different things, you've got to have lined up in order for these, amazing people to have the best experience possible that they can have at your festival. Also, I want to say that they're like 3 of the most polite people I've met doing this. So they are just fantastic.
Yeah, I had the absolute pleasure of introducing myself when they were walking through the back area there, going to receive their awards, and they're absolutely humble, polite.
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience. Kevin, we're going to take this thing kind of into the home stretch.
Sure.
I mean, it's, the movie awards are fantastic, and it's always something much more than what people see on the surface. I mean, even just for this podcast that we're doing here, which is small potatoes compared to the production that you do with the movie awards. There's things off camera that people aren't seeing now, so there's all kinds of things that happen that you're kind of the orchestrator of.
Well, I also have help.
Of course, yeah. I mean,
My assistant, festival director, Bella Torregrossa.
Right.
And she's helped out tremendously behind the scenes. And Katarina Clayton, who has been the director of our improv comedy shows.
Yeah, which are great, by the way.
Yep.
I was watching that. Actually sat there for the whole thing.
And then Jen and Peter. Oh my God, Jen and Peter, and Brian and Rick, and
the whole cast, basically, right? The cast has a part in it all.
From those are the people from Lewis and Clark.
Yeah.
And Steve Higgins.
Yep.
And Ken Traska. They're all helping out, behind the scenes over there, to make sure that this thing gets pulled off too. So just wanted to.
So to wrap this all up,
Yes.
Schmetterling on Tubi.
Yep. Bonnie Conway.
Bonnie
PI,
Conway
Tubi.
on Tubi. Two very different movies, but both Mr. Kevin Edwards with some amazing actors. Rio Rules the World. Hopefully we're going to see that released here sometime this year. You guys need to watch for that. Might be somebody you recognize. And then let's talk about these movie awards. Free.
Yeah, free.
Absolutely free.
Yeah.
And come out, spend the weekend, just run us through, take us home by running us through what those 3 days look like. There's all kinds of free events.
Yep.
And what can folks who give their weekend to that movie award weekend, what can they expect to get for that?
Well, on Sunday, March 8th, from 2 to 4 p.m., we have a local screening at Post Commons in Alton. Okay, so we'll have the bar open so you can get drinks, you can get coffee, cappuccinos, whatever you want. But then the actual festival weekend, that is the 21st and 22nd of March, and it'll be at Hathaway Cultural Center at Lewis and Clark Community College in Godfrey, Illinois. And on that Saturday, March 21st, we're going to have screenings and Q&As all day from 8 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. So you can come out and check out local films from around the country, films from around the world, just a big variety of entertainment. And then you also get to meet the people who make the stuff and ask them questions.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're a film buff or just somebody that wants to get in the industry, this is your opportunity to, sort of pick the brains of the professionals. And then on that Sunday, we've got our red carpet from 6 to 7 p.m. And then from 7 p.m. to 9:30, we have our award show, which is a fully produced award show. We got cameras everywhere. We've got concert lighting, music. We make a big production of it.
Sure.
It is hosted by Ashley Pryor and Sean Scott, two amazing people and very, very talented in their own right. And we've got a whole cast of presenters who are going to be handing out awards to our lucky winners.
Awesome. Kevin, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Kind of a final thought from the Beardly Bourbon perspective. The world gets crazy sometimes, and the arts kind of seem to always be the things that hang there just in the ether, and we kind of take them for granted sometimes, but cinema and music and paintings and photography, when nothing else seems to make sense, we can find some solace in the arts. So,
yes.
Sir, thank you for being a part of that. It is appreciated by myself. Ladies and gentlemen, Keith, Beardly Bourbon and Spirits, this has been a spirited conversation. Kevin, do you have anything to say for closing words?
Yes. Come out to the Always Late TV Movie Awards. I'm going to cheap plug it one more time. March 21st and 22nd. Tickets and parking are absolutely free. And then you can get more information on our website at alwayslatetv.com.
Guys, and this is Keith signing off. Check out alwayslatetv.com. Check out Mr. Edwards, and let's hope to see you there at the movie awards. So until next time, cheers. Love you all.
I'm Kevin Edwards, filmmaker and festival director of the Always Late TV Movie Awards, which is going to be March 21st and 22nd in Hathaway Cultural Center at Lewis and Clark Community College in Godfrey, Illinois. And if you want more information, go to www.alwayslatetv.com. Don't you dare miss it.